So welcome to the next in the Presca Lunchtime sessions. My name is Rob Webb, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Presca Sportswear. And I'm thrilled to be joined today by Katherine Piper from Future Leap. So Katherine, without further ado, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself and then more about Future Leap, and then we'll get into the conversation?
Yep, so I'm Katherine Piper. I'm Head of Partnerships and Sustainability at Future Leap. So Future Leap, it's quite hard to summarise. Our mission statement is to give organisations the space, the knowledge, the tools and the contacts to help accelerate their sustainability journey and progress towards net zero. What that means in effect is we have award-winning carbon neutral sustainable business hubs. I'm in one of them today, where companies can co-locate with us so that they are able to reduce their carbon footprints. We also put on weekly events on different sustainability topics. So again, organisations can acquire that knowledge that they need. And then we've got a consultancy arm and a finance arm who, once organisations are ready to act, then we're able to help with what the best course of action is. So all about basically helping to transition to a sustainable planet.
Very cool. So at Presca, we're part of Future Leap. I'm very thrilled to be. I love it. I've always felt since we joined like it's kind of a natural home for us, and there's always a good bunch of people really informed presentations, discussions. So thank you for driving that forward. But why what is it, Katherine, that motivates you particularly around to have become a director of Future Leap? Why you?
So I guess it covers my two favourite things. One is speaking about all things sustainability related. I am truly passionate about making change and making positive change. I do everything that I can on a personal level in my community and also in my work. And then it also combines that love of, the partnerships element of my work, my love of sort of chatting to people and chatting about sustainability. It feels like it's the perfect combination, really. What I really get excited about in terms of our activities is the fact that we help to facilitate really useful collaborations. And I really do believe that it is that which will help us to achieve sustainability and sustainable business practices. If we've got the technology, we've got the knowledge, if we can all come together to put that into practice, that is where we're going to get those really big achievements.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I hear that time. I think every week, every person I've spoken to on these sessions has everyone's mentioned collaboration, and that's the only way we're going to make it. And I totally agree. I think sitting in our own little silos, no matter how much good you're doing, you just can't have the scale of impact we need, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not only the fact that it's important in terms of sustainable business practices, but also it's important for us to feel like we're part of something bigger. We hear so much news about how terrible the climate and the ecological emergency is, and it is terrible to hear all of that. But actually, when you surround yourself with a community who are making positive change, that really has an impact in terms of eco-anxiety, feeling that you're part of something bigger. And then you naturally see, like locating yourself in our co-working spaces and what have you, see those collaborations happen, joining our network. You see on the discussion board on our portal all these different links happening and positive change taking place. So it's good in terms of the climate and ecological emergency on a very practical front, but also in terms of our own mental well-being and sort of feeling like you're part of something.
Yeah, really so powerful. So I know you're based in Bristol and your hubs are in Bristol. Do you want to talk about them a bit more, because they are pretty special?
Yeah. So we've got two hubs, one in Clifton, which is where I am today. It's carbon neutral. It's beautiful in an old converted chapel. You can probably tell by the arches behind me. And we have 4 big offices here and then some hot desking space. And then the other one is down on Gloucester Road, just by the arches. What was the old Maplin's building. And we've done a complete retrofit of that space as well. And we bought the building, I think, back in 2018 and made a commitment by 2019 to be carbon neutral. So as head of sustainability, then there was quite a lot of thought around how that's going to happen. So we took out the gas boilers, put in air source heat pumps, mechanical ventilation heat recovery system. We ensured zero waste to landfill in terms of the fit out. We've even thought about, our carpet is made out of ghost fishing nets, so taking plastics out of the ocean and then turning them into something useful again, really adopting that circular economy principle, which I know is something that Presca are really great at thinking about. So within that space in Gloucester Road, we've not only got the co-working in the event space like we have here in Clifton, but we've also got an eco cafe, and we have a small retail area as well within that space, so that it doesn't matter who you are, you should be able to make some change, because we've got those big ticket items like the air source heat pumps, mechanical ventilation heat recovery systems that might not be achievable for some, but actually then we've got those smaller ticket items like your bamboo toothbrushes or what have you, so everybody can feel like they're making that positive change. And we sort of really welcome anybody to come in and use the space and to sort of help achieve that sustainability that we're all working towards.
Amazing. And I know we didn't discuss this before, but I'm interested from a kind of sustainability geek to another. How so? If you don't mind me calling you that.
I'm proud.
You're net zero for the hubs. Obviously, you've done everything you can on that kind of reduction pathway.
Yeah.
How are you dealing with the rest?
Residual emissions. Yeah. So we have a really small carbon footprint. Which is, nobody's perfect. We've still got a way to go to completely reduce our carbon emissions. We want to put PV panels on, for example. We want to secondary glaze the windows, etc. There's still stuff to do. So we have a small carbon footprint, and we offset that with an organisation called the Converging World.
Yeah.
And they're gold standard accredited, so we know that they're really sort of top notch in terms of their carbon offsets. And the money that we give to them goes towards the building of wind turbines in India, which we feel is really important because they've got a dirtier power supply than we have here in the UK. So if we can help them to leapfrog from coal straight to renewables rather than going like we did via gas, that feels like it has a bigger impact. So they build these wind turbines that helps to green their network, but also any of the surplus revenue that comes from selling their power in India goes into reforestation projects. Oh. So it's sort of like a twofold benefit in effect. So that's a Converging World. If anybody wants to sort of also offset with them, I'd highly recommend it.
Brilliant. So back in a previous incarnation of work life, I used to work for South Coast Council, and we did some work with Converging World then, and even that was a decade ago, and I love their model. It's brilliant. I'm glad to see they're still thriving. That's fantastic. Okay, cool. So from our point of view, we're net zero as well. We've done as much as we possibly can right now to reduce those impacts, and hopefully a lot more in future, but we still have an impact to deal with. So I think you're right. It's really important to say, look, to be transparent around that, but also to say we're not perfect, and you can't be just right now, if I'm perfectly honest, but there's some things really positive steps that you can do to take us all in the right direction. So that's fantastic. We kind of briefly touched on collaboration and community. I mean, community aspect is so strong, isn't it, as part of Future Leap? How do you promote that? And given your Bristol base, how do other people get involved from afar, I suppose?
Yeah, so we want to foster that sense of community, whether you're Bristol based or not. So I guess it was the pandemic that really pushed us towards, sorry about the bings and bongs on my computer, that really pushed us towards going for virtual events, and now we've switched to hybrid events. So we've got that physical element and a hybrid element. So wherever you are, I mean, we've had people come and join our events from Australia, from New Zealand, from Switzerland. We've got members in Scotland. So it is nice and inclusive in that respect. Hybrid events, we've got our Festival of Sustainable Business, which is our big push for the year. So that's in 3 parts. So just to give you a sense of the scale, I guess, most of our events will get about 50 max in the room on our weekly events on different sustainability topics. I say in the room, that's virtual and physical. And then for our Festival of Sustainable Business, we have 1,500, so it gives you a sense of that scale. So that's our big push for the year. And it works over 3 different dates. We have in the spring a hybrid conference, followed by in the summer a sustainability exhibition, and then in the autumn gala dinner and awards ceremony, where we're really celebrating those businesses doing good stuff. And that I sit on Bristol's Environment Board, and that is one of the One City Environment Board targets, is to hold these annual Sustainable Business Awards, which is our sort of contribution in effect to that wider piece around net zero. But yeah, so that's all about bringing as many organisations as possible together to feel like they're part of that community of change makers. I don't know if that really answers your question.
Yeah, it really does. But then so one thing you mentioned earlier was around your personal life away from Future Leap and how you kind of commit to sustainability. But I'd love to just very quickly drill into your work you do on the board, because I think that's fascinating, and your thoughts on Bristol as a city in terms of sustainability efforts, but also ambitions. You must see a lot of that from the inside.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so exciting to be a part of it. Bristol is really leading the way. We need to go further and faster, as everybody does. But to give you a sense of the role on the board, so back in 2018, I think it was, Bristol was the first council to declare a climate emergency. Out of that was established the Environment Board. I'm absolutely chuffed that Future Leap get to represent their network on that board. So we meet on a quarterly basis. We developed the climate strategy and the ecological emergency strategy that are all available online for people to have a look at. And out of that is quite tangible deliverables that we need to work towards now. And we're at that phase now where we're, like, for example, the gala dinner award ceremony the Sustainable Business Award ceremony that we host. There's these sort of tangible actions that we're working towards. But I think it's worth saying that, we need everybody to get on board. We're a board of 15 members. Some have big environmental impacts on the city, yes, but we're barely scratching the surface if it was just us on the board who are taking action. We really need every organisation, every community, every individual to be thinking about what they can do to positively impact our environment and our people as a city. A big thing that's happening in the city is the City Leap project, which is just the last sort of 6 months or so, they've announced. Basically, it's a public-private partnership between Bristol City Council, Vattenfall and Amoresco, trying to help achieve this net zero 2030 target. So there's lots of discussions around district heating, heat networks, retrofitting council properties. What can we do as a city, and to bring in as much investment as possible to achieve against net zero. The City Leap initiative will bring in £1 billion worth of investment over I think it's a 20-year project. I might be wrong on that. But we need so much more than that to achieve net zero. So, again, we need a lot of investment and people really pushing forwards and doing things differently. What City Leap is going to address a lot around the built environment, but and I'm sure sort of having sort of probably cycled around Bristol, what we really need to focus on as well is improving our congestion, traffic, travel and transport sort of environments, because that's a huge emissions issue. And we've got the clean air zone coming in, which will go away towards that, but there's a lot more that needs to be done in that area, I think. It's quite interesting. So we've got the Environment Board as one sort of arm of One City, but there's also the Transport Board as well, travel and transport. So there's lots of thoughts around sort of how we can do better in both areas. There's a long way to go, but there's lots of activity going on behind the scenes, in effect. They're all available, you know, if you look for it online, you'll be able to find sort of minutes and what have you to get a sense of future direction.
That's great. That's great. No, I've had a kind of good look at a lot of those documents, and yeah, pretty impressed. And please carry on and carry on engaging the business community, because, like you say, we're all in it together. I'm going to wrap up just because we're kind of at about time. But
Yeah.
before we go, can you just tell everyone how they can find out more about Future Leap and about the Environment Board, I suppose, in the city as well?
Yeah, so you can find all of our information at futureleap.co.uk, or just pop into our hubs. The Clifton hub is on Oakfield Road, and the Gloucester Road hub is, funnily enough, on Gloucester Road. Yep. Sort of 123 Gloucester Road, so the Arches end of Gloucester Road. So just pop in, and there's always somebody who can chat to you about our activities. And then, like I said, if you look up on the One City website, the Environment Board, you'll be able to see all of the minutes and the actions that are taking place on there.
Amazing. And so before we wrap up, I'll just do the 3 standard questions, if you don't mind. So, yeah. Katherine, community is obviously absolutely key to Future Leap, but what does community mean for you?
A sense of belonging and being with your people, and making positive change.
Awesome. And why should we care about the climate, dare I ask?
I mean, we're facing an existential crisis. We absolutely need to go full steam ahead. We have a rapidly closing window of opportunity for us to take action. So we need to do it now and do everything that we can. And I guess, you know, a plug to our consultancy and our finance teams as well, that we can support you with that as an organisation. So, you know, do get in touch and we can support with that. It's that really, that I feel like those who are least culpable will suffer most with the climate and ecological emergency. So we have a moral duty to do everything that we can, particularly in Bristol. You know, we were at the forefront of the Industrial Revolution, and really we have a duty to do everything that we can, so that those who are, for example, in the global south, are not adversely impacted by our actions and by us having developed.
Yeah, and given how heavy that all is, and it is a responsibility on us all for sure. How do you stay positive in the face of all that?
Being part of a community that are doing business unusual is huge for me. You know, just surrounding myself with people who are doing good stuff, it really does sort of bring you up. Celebrating successes. You know, we've just submitted our B Corp impact assessment, for example, and you know, that's quite a lot of work, as I'm sure you know. So really celebrating when you've done something that's really great in terms of pushing forwards with sustainability.
Good, fantastic. Oh, thank you, Katherine. Thank you so much for dialing in. Really appreciate the time to catch up and hear about all the cool stuff that you're doing. So just to summarize, I mean, Future Leap offers support to any business and individuals, right? You can go there as an individual for sure and have a brilliant time. And whether you're Bristol based or not, then I thoroughly recommend joining the Future Leap network. If you are Bristol based, go and check out the hubs, because they're just amazing. And yeah, business unusual. I'm going to take that away with me. I love that. I've not heard that before. You might find that cropping up on our marketing.
I quoted someone else who said it, but I can't remember who that person is now.
Oh, it's so cool. Great. Thank you, Katherine. Thank you so much. I'll let you crack on with your very busy day, but it's brilliant to see you, and thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.